Welcome
Welcome
back.
back to KU classes, and in this video I'm going to teach you the classification of law. The law has been classified based on its purpose, nature and subject matter. It applies from a person to person. So let us understand how the legal system function and how different types of law work together to regulate the society. First one is public law. So the law that governs the relationship between the state and individual, that comes a public law. For example, constitutional law, which provides structure and power of the government and guarantee fundamental rights to the individual. Other is administration law, which control the actions of the government authority, and criminal law, which defines the offense against the society and prescribe human punishment. Students, as you can see, all these law, constitution, admin law, criminal law, these describes the relationship between the state and the individual, so that there will be a balance in the society. Now comes private law. Private law, it regulates the relationship between the individual person. Why this law came into existence? So that it resolved the dispute involving personal rights, property, contract, family matters. And examples of this law are law of contract. For example, if there is an agreement between the parties, then how the agreement should be fulfilled or how the agreement should be quashed. It deals under the contract law. Then comes property law, family law. In family law, there are matrimonial cases, maintenance, alimony cases. So all this will involve in family law. Then comes law of tort, which is a civil law. And the main aim of private law is to protect the individual's right and ensure fair dealing among the persons itself. Now comes substantive law. Substantive law actually defines the rights, duties and liability of an individual. For example, Indian Penal Code, which defines the offences and punishment given to the offenders. Then law of contract, which defines rights and duties in the agreement. Then comes procedural law. For example, CRPC. It defines the method and steps which is required to enforce the substantive rights of an individual. For example, we have Civil Procedural Code, Criminal Procedural Code, Law of Evidence. Student Law of Evidence Act is both substantive and procedural law. Then comes civil law. Civil law deals with the non-criminal disputes. For example, compensation, injunction, specific performance rather than the punishment. Okay. It aims to protect the private right and restore the parties to their original position. Then come criminal law. Criminal law defines the offense against the society and prescribed various punishment according to the offenses, such as imprisonment, fine, death penalty in rare cases. And the objective of criminal law is to punish the offender, deterrence, public safety and maintaining the order. Then comes municipal, means domestic law, means all the law that are governing within our country, that is India. For example, Indian Contract Act, family law, tax, labor law. These law are only applicable in India itself. Okay. Then comes international law. International law, why it came into existence? Because it helps to establish the relationship between the sovereign state, international organization and sometimes individual also. For example, if we want to do trade, export and imports from different country, then these law helps to regulate the dispute, maintaining order. For example, UN Charter, WTO Agreement, Geneva Convention. Then comes general and specific law. General laws are those laws which are applicable to all the people within the jurisdiction, for example, IPC. And specific law are only applies to a particular group, area or subject. For example, labor law only applies to the labor people, workers. Then SC/ST Atrocities Act, Rent Control Act. Then comes written and unwritten law. So written laws are those laws which are written, for example, statute, courts enacted. And unwritten laws are, for example, custom, judicial decisions. These are not written, but these are the customs which has been followed from decade. Okay students, that's it for the video. Please subscribe my channel.